I don't know. But let's begin with you, Dr. Sarah Bireeete. Are you now satisfied? Because some people believe what you considered as draconian in this particular bill has now been dealt with.
Let me first raise the technical issues surrounding the process of the bill. We have a gazetted bill known as the Protection of Sovereignty Bill, with a number, bill number 13 of 2026. Gazetted, published, taken through the first reading of Parliament, and committed to the Committee for Public Hearing and Testimonies. We have so far had 2 amendments of the same bill. One amendment with the tracked changes of the Attorney General, another amendment with the tracked changes but removing the name of the Attorney General. The 2 amended bills are ungazetted, are unnumbered, and they also don't have a certificate of financial implications. The amended bills have also not been tabled in Parliament. So we will regard them as drafts because they are not processed through the known channels as mandated by the Constitution and the rules of procedure of Parliament. So when a bill, public debates a bill and shares concerns, it does not mean that you integrate their concerns through an amendment, an ungazetted amendment process, or in the middle of the process. The Parliament in 2019 introduced a standard to the effect that when 30% of the original bill changes, that bill should be withdrawn, and a new bill introduced following procedures. The amendments, the amended bills have more than 50% change. They should, actually, the bill should have been withdrawn. That would have been the right thing. If it is not withdrawn, amendments are processed, they will fail the constitutionality test when that time comes.
Is the CCG going to be a petition?
You cannot, you have to be sure about that. You can be sure about that.
Let's proceed, Sarah.
Yeah. So if the committee discusses the illegal amended bill, it will make a mistake, and I know they have started discussions now, this evening, after convening for a retreat in Munyonyo. I hope they are discussing the gazetted bill and not the amendments. The amendments at most can be treated as comments, together with the other testimonies that came through.
All right. Now that you've raised the technical issues, let's go to the substance.
So what bill do you want to discuss here?
I want you to discuss the context. What has happened? We know the changes
the one
that
you
have
discussed
occurred.
in Parliament.
Do the changes that have occurred. Okay, let me pose it like this. If the amended bills were the ones that have been tabled in the first place, would you support such a piece of legislation?
No. The amended versions, 2 of them that we have seen, and we are told there will be a 3rd version this evening. So the
one including
yes,
including the changes of the president.
So there will be a 3rd version this evening. They also have constitutional problems. Problems regarding Article 1 on sovereignty of the people. Problems regarding Article 29 on free speech in relation to, economic sabotage, provisions in clause 13 of the original bill. There are problems around sentencing. There has been slight integration of judicial oversight, but it's not complete. And the bill largely will suffer from executive overreach and a draconian implementation if the provisions of judicial oversight are not addressed well. The bill also suffers from extreme punishments, extreme sanctions for social crimes in the country. Because the bill assumes that money will enter in for destabilizing Uganda. For that, the Penal Code Act is very sufficient with provisions of treason and consideration of treason. So I assume that anybody who attempts to destabilize this country will be dealt with in accordance with the existing legal framework. So this law comes in now with social sanctions because we have enough criminal sanctions. So the sanctions of 20 years, sanctions of 2 billion or 4 billion fine without considering the amount in question, and it lacks the principle of proportionality, it renders it unconstitutional.
All right, but Sarah, let's hear your take on the position of the president. President Yoweri Museveni did publish something. I'm sure you read it in line with this particular.
Yeah, I read his letter,
and he suggested that the bill that was
paragraph, the introducing paragraph, I wish he had given it to us in video. That paragraph because advocacy and citizen participation is not a noise, is not violence. So that introductory remark is derogatory. You cannot call citizens' participation in their governance noise, kerere, I don't know whatever he put in, as if it's violence or something. Yet the Constitution provides for those rights of people to participate in the legislative process.
I have noticed a lot of Orwari.
No.
Noise, kelele.
Yes, that intro is derogatory.
You see, Kenneth, I always tell you.
Governance is about the people.
I guess the most fundamental question he asks, the most fundamental question he asks, which sovereignty bill is the Rwali about? In there,
so
the subjects are shouting for the monarch.
After that derogatory comment about citizens participating in their governance, he addressed critical issues regarding the economy, and as you have summarized them, the free enterprise economy in Uganda, the need for Uganda's economy because it survives on foreign inflows, foreign exchange inflows, to be able to balance our accounts like the governor started so well, the strength of the private sector, the purpose of the bill, and the president, other than that intro, throws the drafters of this bill under the bus. He says that was not his instruction. You know, the process of making government bills starts with a cabinet memo. A cabinet memorandum clearly stipulates the purpose of the law being introduced and the objectives. So, according to the president's letter, the Attorney General and his team misunderstood the terms of reference in the cabinet memorandum. And if that is so, because it's now written on a blue-headed paper, I hope that then the people should lose their jobs. Because if you can vulgarize instructions of cabinet and cause violence or I don't know what other to disturb the peace of the people, it means you are not fit for purpose. But the president addressed the economic concerns, partial economic concerns. The bill, both second and third versions of the bill, remain problematic because as much as there is clarity on what they are trying to do as compared to the gazetted bill, then you find that, for example, the principal clause 2, subsection 2, for avoidance of doubt, the bill targets agent of a foreigner who engages in ABC. There is a problem with E in that clause, which appears to be vague. Also, there is a problem with vagueness on the new definition of a foreigner under E, which can potentially bring in anybody and everybody to be a foreigner under the instrument of a minister. So the bill still has unconstitutional tendencies, as we presented to the Joint Committee on Legal and Parliamentary Affairs and Defense and Internal Affairs.